Hello and welcome to the introductory video for Metamorphosis, the 2021 autumn reading from Planet Waves. My name is Eric Francis Coppolino, and this is my kind of warm-up, intro, advertorial summary of the astrology that I'm going to be talking about, and what I'm going to be putting into the forthcoming 12-sign reading called Metamorphosis. So this is basically about to become a video reading, one video per sign. Haven't done one of these in about a year, so maybe a little rusty getting started here, but I am going to do my best. In this video, I want to outline some of the astrology that I'm going to be talking about. We live in absolutely momentous times, so much so that the scale of the events is not really possible to see for many people. There are some who understand what's happening and are able to respond in some way, but regardless of what the content of what you may think is happening, whatever side of whatever issue anyone may be on, the scale of the changes is utterly daunting, and we are only at the beginning of the events that are unfolding. For example, we are not anywhere near through with the United States Pluto return. The Pluto in the United States chart is a little further ahead in Capricorn than Pluto is today, and the nature of our time is that there are profound interchanges going on for people, and there are enormous changes going on in society, and yet it is possible to miss the connection point between the two and just to think, well, you've got all this stuff going on in your life and there's all this other stuff going on in the world around you, and I'm here to say that really it's all part of the same thing, and that the connections between the astrology that we're living through personally and that all of society is living through collectively are very influential, and it will help to understand the changes of your life as being part of a much larger thing, and to get a sense of where you have a role, where you fit in, and also how to manage your own life process in the midst of all of these what I'm calling changes, but it's going on a level so deep as to represent the complete restructuring of society, and in the usual way that the engineers of these kind of changes get their way, basically, is we're having a kind of a figure dangled in front of our faces all the time, and it's like, oh, what maybe, oh, now it's there, oh no, now it's there, and the background, the deeper material, what is going on in ways that are not so easily perceived, that are not spoken about in any of the commercial media. This is all we're experiencing is being treated as just sort of one more day-to-day thing. Oh, and now we have to adapt in that way. Now we have to adapt in that way. But the scale, the sheer scale, is what we need to be considering, and then understanding what this is making out of us as people. What is this doing to us? And therefore, what is the best way to respond? How do you position yourself? How do you get along with other people? So in this intro, I want to share the astrology on two levels. One is an immediate aspect taking place on the 8th and 9th of October, coincidental with Mercury retrograde, the Sun in Libra, and Mars in Libra, Mercury retrograde happening in Libra. And this appears to be driving everyone and everything toward an immediate crescendo that may be, as of today, contained in a bit of a blind spot because Mercury has not gone retrograde. That happens, I think, on the... I've got all these careful notes. Let's make sure that I can find them. Mercury stationing retrograde on the 27th of September and direct on the 18th. So what happens inside of Mercury retrograde is often concealed from view till we are inside of Mercury retrograde. And then the Sun has yet, as of this recording, yet to enter Libra. So I'm recording, by the way, on the 20th at 2:51 p.m. We're a little bit ahead of the Pisces full moon, and we're a little bit ahead of the Libra equinox. And so that introductory stuff having been said, and me getting adapted to my rare video appearances, let's jump into the astrology. So the main event that I am tracking is, let's figure out how to do this in such a way that we can see everything, is this triple alignment here of retrograde Mercury. You can see the retrograde, Mercury retrograde is right there. The screen goes backwards, so how do I do this? And then Mars, and then the Sun. It's not really working with my left hand to do this backwards and left-handed. Okay, so there's a triple conjunction that's going to happen. And this takes place on the 8th and the 9th. And it's actually a quadruple conjunction. I drew it in a little bit nicer on this more detailed chart. Charts are often in layers. The Earth is there, and the Sun is here. It shows up here in the chart. So it's a four-way alignment of Earth, Sun, Mars, and retrograde Mercury. So whatever it is, it's significant, and it's pushing everyone and everything toward a point of decision and a point of action. The Libra being a sign that I find most notable for its ability to turn way, way down and almost disappear, and then to flare way up and become some enormous thing, and then also have a way of then disappearing again. We are currently in the sort of dim light part of that, and then the full moon happens, the Sun enters Libra, Mercury goes retrograde, and then suddenly, there's a lot more going on. And because this is taking place in Libra, we have an emphasis on a couple of things that are not described by the usual astrology we're considering in our times. For example, Saturn in Aquarius, Pluto in Capricorn. Libra, ruled by a personal planet, Venus, is a much more personal sign, a sign much more oriented on our immediate visceral reality, our immediate, pardon me, our immediate tangible feelings, and I think most importantly in Libra, our personal relationships, especially one-on-one relationships of all kinds. So Libra is not just about lovey-dovey. Libra is about partnerships. It's about enmity. It's about anything where the relationship is right where you can see it. Libra is the person you're talking to, right? In the archetypal sense of Libra, not in the personal sense of Libra. And what has been left out of our whole discussion the past 2 years is the impact of events on our most intimate and personal relationships and partnerships. Everything is being thrown behind the scrim and the ruse of the collective of everybody. But there is no everybody ultimately. There is no for most of us who are private people. Despite living the illusion of public reality, we are private people and have our personal, intimate situations, and everything that has been happening going back to approximately February 2020 has been ripping at the fabric, not just of society, and not just of group relationships of some kind, which I am skeptical of most concepts of what a group is, but been ripping at the fabric of our private partnerships, our intimate relationships, splitting up couples who disagree on a medical issue, splitting up families who decide one day that this person who they've known for the last 70 years is unwelcome at the dinner table. That an aunt or an uncle, previously respected and welcome aunt or uncle. This is deep stuff. When the movement of the larger society is impacting our private lives on a minute-to-minute basis, and tearing apart our bonds, our way of relating, our way of existence, not in some abstract sense of having fireworks on Bastille Day or July 4th or New Year's Eve or whatever, but in an immediate personal way. And so retrograde Mercury in Libra combined with Mars and the Sun in a triple conjunction is saying that there is a crescendo coming up, and that the urgency is to study the private side of our lives, and not be distracted by all of this public drama. And I'm not saying that because some very bad things have been done in under the ruse of let the experts take care of it, and we've got a handle on it, and don't pay any mind to the big things going on in society, blah blah blah. A lot of bad stuff happens under that influence. What I'm talking about is notice what this is doing to your life, and ask yourself why all of this impact on your private life. Like, why does everything have to go right into your home, right into your body? Why must the crisis itself be injected into your body, mandatory? Why are people being forced out of their jobs? What is this? And to feel this impact. Now, the people who are really getting the brunt of it, the people who are getting the brunt of this huge movement, this huge astrology, don't need to be told this. It's the people who have been temporarily sheltered. So, to take one last look at this combination, and I'm going to get into this sign by sign as we go. We're going to start with Aries in the next recording in a few minutes. One way to measure the scale of this and to see the potency of it, first of all, is the precision of this alignment right here, the Sun, Mercury, Mars. And then to notice that it's opposite two slow movers, currently very slow movers, Chiron, moving at its slowest. Chiron is near aphelion, the furthest it is from the Sun, and it's working its way into a conjunction with Eris, an ultra-slow mover, 551-year orbit. And then at this time in history, we are in this very unusual moment right now where Pluto is in a square with Eris. Notice how close this is at the time of this conjunction on the 8th. 2419, 2418. This is exact at this time. And so this triple conjunction And this square, now, how important is that square? Well, that square is the waning phase of a conjunction that took place in 1756. The conjunction of Pluto and Aries in Sagittarius. 1756, 20 years before the American Revolution. And so there's many things happening in our times. And by the way, that phase of the American Revolution, the late 18th century, where many changes, and the French Revolution followed, and all of this set a tone for the world, and the concept of a free republic is born in France in a slightly different era under the nation state with free people is born in France under the philosophical and to some extent military influence of Joan of Arc. Some consider her the mother of a free republic. And it is the whole concept of a free republic that is now being destroyed by a concept of collectivism, that the only way to see the real demonstrated influence of that collectivism is to see, what has this done to my relationship with my parents? What has this done to my relationship with my children? What has this done to my relationship with my partner, my lover, my husband, my wife? And we often don't go there because it's so painful to go there, or to think about how a change in society that seems haphazard, right? That's the trick, right? Is that while you're being told to follow around, this little figure dancing on the stage, which really looks like a skeleton, right? It's a marionette of a skeleton, right? It's death. They're putting a death image out in front of us. As long as you think that that's random, you're not going to notice what it's doing to your private relationships. And I'm saying Sun conjunct Mercury, retrograde conjunct Mars in Libra, notice what it's doing privately. All right, let's take a look at some of the larger movements. Of course, Aries and Pluto in a square dating back to an event in 1756. Look at this. Look at this friggin' thing going on in Sagittarius in 1756, man. Whatever that was, it was loud. And we're getting a reverberation of it today in 2021. Let's consider a couple of more things. The single most important event is the ingress of Pluto into Aquarius. That takes place on 3/23/23. Easy to remember. 3/23/23. March 23rd, 2023. Pluto entering Aquarius. Now, I have written a book about this, divided up by sign, available as individual signs, called Aquarian Era, Aquarian Age, which is an analysis of the events surrounding Pluto entering Aquarius. Right? It's a big deal. Pluto enters Aquarius in 23. It doesn't start to come out until 43. So it's a 20-year event, and I would be much happier about this had I not now experienced Pluto going through, as an astrologer, much of Scorpio, all of Sag, and most of Capricorn, and understanding the relationship that the sign Aquarius has to all of us archetypally, because it is a sign that is about the relationship between the group and the individual. Here's where we have to engage the evolutionary side of Pluto rather than the power side of Pluto. And the motto of Pluto and the experience on Earth since Pluto was discovered, I believe in 30, is that death works. That for people who want to consolidate their power, all you have to do is issue a death threat. Now, people have known this for a long time, but and tyrants have operated on the death threat for a long time, but never by Twitter, right? Never could broadcast a death threat simultaneously to 100 million people just by tweeting it out. And more troubling is the way in which the so-called digital revolution has softened people up and completely gutted their intellect. Now, for those of you who are wondering, like, why do so many people seem so unbelievably stupid? Why do all these people who I thought were so smart seem like complete morons all of a sudden? And why has it never seemed that the masses were not bigger asses? Well, that is the mind gutting effect, and the individuality, private self, inner reality, private self, not just meaning somebody who stacks up food in the garage or ammunition or whatever, but your inner reality. And the digital revolution is an extension of the electrical revolution, and was the electrical revolution that initially started to eviscerate literacy. And what literacy is really is the ability to have an internal concept of who you are. That's what literacy actually is about. It's not just about the reading of books, but it's about a different kind of reading than most people do on the internet. The kind of reading that awakens your inner being is the kind of reading where you read something and then you have to stop for the night to integrate it, to think about it. And that form of reading is almost completely unlikely to happen from a digital source. It is possible, but I don't think that possible. And when we were making the transition from a literate society that had some remaining concept of an inner being, because radio did its damage, television did its damage, cinema did its damage, all of this projecting internal reality outside of ourselves now, to the point where many people cannot enjoy a meal in a restaurant without publishing a photograph of it first. Think about that philosophically. You can't just think, well, gramming your food, I think it's called. Planet Wave still, by the way, has a ban of publishing photos of food on our website. In case hungry people are reading, I have not lifted that photo policy. It's a 15, 20-year-old photo policy. The fact that many people can't enjoy a meal without projecting the meal outward is evidence that there is no longer an inner being. And so when there's not an inner being, it is very easy for people to come along and completely seize that inner being. My job as an astrologer, as I self-appointed assignment, is to help you stay in contact with your inner being at all times. For those who find me annoying, and there are plenty of people who do, the reason for that is that I am remaining in complete contact with my inner being and putting my actual humanity out. And it is discouraging to do this now. People are afraid to do this now. I think, though there are a couple of courageous people speaking up, the problem with people being timid and intimidated, same word, timid, intimidate, has never been worse, with people afraid to express their actual views, which are now been reduced to likes and quick comments on something. The problem of Pluto in Aquarius is a problem of the collective expressing itself through electronic means, digital means, completely dominating people's concept of who they are inside, and leading a great preponderance of people to completely surrender any notion of their inner reality and to declare as an enemy people who maintain their inner reality and their inner awareness. And this has become a war being fought at the dinner table. And we have a lot of spiritual work to do to get through these critical times that we are in. And unlike what we are often taught and the ways in which we are instructed, it's not all about us. It's not all about you. It's not all about the individual. And the false collectivism that we are being flogged with right now, it's not about that either. We are constructing the future of humanity through our choices right now. And that is a very large responsibility to have, and yet I think on a deep level, everyone knows they have that responsibility. And that is why it's so easy to co-opt. That is why it is so easy to say, do it for the collective, do it for this, be responsible to your community and all that stuff. Well, I gotta tell you something. What we're talking about, what we're experiencing, what we're living through is much larger than be considerate, wear a mask in Kmart. That is NutraSweet. It is neither nutritious nor sweet. Some people say that's sweet, but it's certainly not nutritious. It is the ersatz version of a very real thing because humanity is at a precipice. And many people, including people who hold themselves out as teachers, people who hold themselves out as spiritual beings, people who hold themselves out as advocates for natural health, people who hold themselves out as advocates for a holistic viewpoint are some of the most susceptible to what's going on. So in the coming 12 videos, I have a week to do them, but let's see if that happens. My job is to guide you, as I see it, back to yourself where you can relate to people, right? Not into a concept of self that completely disregards the beauty and the necessity of your relationships and the value of friendship, but honoring that and respecting that. So, as usual, I have a contrarian message. Whether we're talking about in astrology or whether we're talking about my social critique, that's what I got for you. All right, I'm going to take a short break and move on to Aries. Here's the chart for Aries. I've got a few more notes to put on it. Thanks for signing up. We'll have a link to purchase these readings in the YouTube, and also we're giving them to people who either sign up for a new 1-year core community membership or extend your membership 1 year, and as always, it's included for everyone with a backstage pass. That's kind of the deluxe membership of Planet Waves. So video production by Katerina Rezhenko, and the beautiful art for the Metamorphosis project by Lanvi Wynn. Ladies, thank you for your help. And to my viewers and customers and people, YouTube folks, hopefully this got me into doing a little bit more YouTube. All right, signing off for now at 3:14 on a beautiful afternoon here in upstate New York. Bye for now.